Hello and welcome back to the top 8 match of the Hokkaido Japan Championships here in OP08. We went through top 16, now looking at the top 8 meta share. Looks like 5 of the decks in the top 8 are red, purple, law, if you can't read this yourself in Japanese. The other 3 decks that we have inside the top 8 all contain 1 each, 1 being Nami, as you know by the title and thumbnail, 1 Anel, and then 1 Luffy, as we saw in the previous top 16 match. So with 10 red purple laws advancing into the top 16, 5 of them now making it into the top 8. Going to be an exciting match here today, hopefully, with red purple law and Nami. I know a lot of people instantly think in this matchup, oh my gosh, red purple law wins this by a landslide. It's 95-5 in terms of a matchup spread. Personally, as a Nami player, I think it's a little bit closer to that. I do think that red purple law is Nami's toughest matchup overall. It is a very difficult matchup, do not get me wrong, but if you get a pretty decent starting hand and you get 1 Impel Down All-Stars in life, or maybe 1 Peel Off, it can really change the game in an atmosphere like this, the way the deck runs. I'm really curious to see how this match goes. Hopefully you are too. Remember that just like these other Japanese tournament videos, this is the official live stream that I'm watching. If you want to check it out for yourself, link will be in the description below as always. But for those of you that do want to stay, that do want to watch it, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you appreciate it. As players are shuffling up as well, I don't know if any of you saw it on the community section or the post that I made in YouTube or on Twitter, but when we hit 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube, I will be reading all of One Piece. I own every single volume, all 106 that are currently out right now, and I buy the next volume every time it does come out because I got it for a super good deal. So I just bought them because I know that I like One Piece. I'll read it all and I'll tell you all about my thoughts on the journey to find the One Piece. So do that cringe thing of smashing the like button or subscribing or doing whatever you want to do, and let's get into this game. I will be trying to keep track of Nami's cards left in deck for you all to try to, give you an idea of how much is left, because I know especially with double sleeved cards like this player is using right here, I know that a lot of people sometimes have a hard time gauging double sleeved cards and how many cards are left in deck in a Nami matchup, because my Nami deck is also double sleeved because I got the real pretty Nami sleeves on my Nami deck. But anyways, this matchup is definitely going to be difficult. One of the biggest things that I think about this matchup is early game, you really need to have like 1 cost events, and then sort of in late game as well, you need to be able to survive most of the swings that are coming, especially with the leader effect. Utilizing Zoro and Kid Killer can make it really difficult to not take too much life in a single turn, but White Snake is going to be one of your best cards. And this hand right here, I think they mulligan for this hand, and it does not look too great. I feel like interesting to see Zeph. Zeph is a card that we don't usually see in Nami, especially in OP07, so it could be interesting, but they do have some counter events. Spada is going to help them find a good top deck, and then Love Love Mellow drawing some cards, and the Snake Dance getting a character back on field, some good old 4,000 power events. The Law has a pretty okay hand. I mean, with Nami especially, not a lot of hands are really that bad against Nami, so getting a Rage is really nice. Zoro Rusher is going to be really good. Queen and Kid are going to be good blockers against that Zeph if that Zeph ever hits the field, but I imagine it won't in this matchup because Zeph really only takes 1 Gordon or Raise Max to bottom deck. So the Nami is also going first, which is something to note. No turn 1 plays of Kaya, Gloriosa, anything like that. So it really is just going to be a Dawn and pass. Going into the Law's turn, nothing really to play on to Dawn. You don't need to preemptively play something like a Gordon or Raise Max, so no need to play those, just passing as well. But after getting that peel off, going to go to 37 cards in deck. Nothing left in hand, but one thing that is very good is a lot of players at this point, like right now, are going to be swinging 5 with lead when there's no Dawn available. So this Zeph is a great counter card to use. Unfortunately, there was a Zoro in hand that has Rush, so with this 6,000 power Zoro swing, instead of pitching the Kaya, they'll probably take the life, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing. it's going to be a Oppies. So Oppies is in this build as well, a card that we see a lot of times with Nami players, and after using leader effect, not bottom decking anything, but just getting another character on the field, swarming is a huge problem for Nami. It is going to get 2 Dawn back. So 36 cards left in deck now at 5 Dawn. May see this Kaya come on the field. We see a lot of people say that you should wait on Kaya until later stages of the game because Kaya is going to be bottom deck, but is going to play this right now and grab a Snake Dance and an Impel Down All-Stars. So All-Stars, an easy card to pitch right here, and honestly I would probably pitch Margaret as they do right there. Margaret, not a good card in this matchup. Yes, it replaces 1 card from your deck, but you'll get no value off of the block. Your opponent will just wait to bottom deck that blocker until they complete all their actions with their Dawn. So I'm going to be swinging 5 at that Zoro. You always, as Nami, want to be swinging at least 5,000 power with your leader on some of these characters, but going to be playing Oppies. So a lot of people are probably curious of why you want to play this character, trashing 2 cards, looking at the top 5 for an East blue card. So one of the reasons that you grab this Oppies is because you have 3 Dawn left effectively, right? So you've got the Sanji's Pilaf in hand. What you could do with this Desert Spada is you can use the Desert Spada or even the Gavel, right? One of those for one of those cards and one of the Dawn. But then with the Love Love Mellow, you can use the rest of your Dawn to at least draw a card because you would have little cards in hand. So interesting play to see right there with 3 Dawn. I do like 3 Dawn in general right now as the Kaya goes back into the deck. But now looking around to see what they can do, they do not have any Dawn. They should have 1 Dawn left. Wait, did they get their 1 Dawn back from Eustace Captain Kidd? Is going to be playing the Reiju, going to be less Dawn than the opponent, and is going to draw 2 cards right there. So, oh, it looks like they were just completing the Reiju effect first. I don't actually hate that, but just making sure on that this game state is good. Going to be swinging 6, and so perfect to use that Desert Spada. Look at the top 3 to try to find something that you want. Pilaf, Impel Down All-Stars, and Rubber Band. So you've already got a peel off in hand, so you don't necessarily need to, but because of your hand size and what is in hand, you don't have a ton of things to be able to counter out swings in the near future. So I actually don't hate this bottom deck to try to draw into some more counter cards in a sense, especially off of, you know, this Love Love Mallow, off of potentially a life trigger, and also peel off. So taking this right there is going to be a Rubber Band, so going to get them down to 33 cards in deck. But one of the reasons why I wish they would have used the Love Love Mellow first is because now they can't use Love Love Mellow to draw any cards. Now if they want to get kind of maximum from the cards that they do have, they're going to either need to use the Gavel right here and leave one Awkward Dawn open, or use that Snake Dance and grab that Oppies, which you would have rather really loved to use for the Kaya. So after using that Oppies, going to be 31 cards in deck. You got 3 cards in hand. You do have peel off to be able to draw cards, so we're at least going to be seeing 3 cards along with this top deck for turn. So getting a Spada off that is a good start. Spada, a really good card in a lot of situations to be able to help you find your top deck, is going to be drawing to White Snake, a really nice card right now. And with 4 done, I would honestly maybe just hold it right here. I don't think I want to use anything else right now. White Snake is a great card for matchups like this. Your hand's a little bit awkward for White Snake at this point, but that 6k power that you are going to get from a simple 5k swing is going to be really nice in general in this game. So really going to have to ask your opponents to utilize a card. But with this Eustace Captain Kidd right here, we could see a Desert Spada be used to try to manipulate what our top deck is going to be at 3 life. Looking a little tough right now for this Nami player, so going to be using that Spada. Looking at the top 3, a Belmare is in there. Okay, Belmare is not a card that I was expecting. I don't know if I've seen too many lists, especially as of late, play that card. That card is great for on KO effects, especially in something like the Rob Lucci matchup, right? To be able to punish your opponent for either KOing it or leaving it on the attack. But with this level of Mellow is going to be drawing a card to get out of that one, but a real cruddy hand looking at this right now. So is going to be very, very tough. Going to have to take this life as they went to 27. Now with that Perfume Fumer going to about 26 cards right there, and is going to have to take another life. That Perfume Fumer just only drawing one right there, and this one Dawn left is so awkward because you don't really have a use for it right now. So going to be interesting to see where this goes. Looks like it's going to be another life. If I had to take a guess, I would not pitch Kaya. Kaya is tough to pitch in this deck, but it is going to be no trigger as it's another Kaya at this point. So really curious to see how this goes. Looks like it's just going to be a 9. I don't hate this play, especially with one Dawn open. You're probably thinking Gavel, right? So force them to have a Gavel and something else to be able to use. They haven't really shown that they've had a counter card in any sense, so you're pretty set on the mind that even with this draw one, trash one, that your opponent doesn't have anything like a Dazbones or another Zeph or something that they'd want to pitch on that. So with no life left and about 24 cards in deck, it looks like it's going to be near impossible at this point. Just a slaughter in general after a not super great starting hand. So a couple options right here. You're not even at 10 Dawn right now. I think you're only at 9. Is going to play that Kaya to go ahead and draw 2, trash 2. So double Impel Down All-Stars is always the way to go. Multiple copies of Belmare as we see Belmare come again in this deck. Definitely spicy, especially with the Brick Fist right there as well. Definitely an interesting list. I'll try to recreate it on Eggman events at the end of this video to try to give you a sample of what this list probably looks like. But it's definitely unique in its own right. Thinking about playing the Pilaf as well. I don't know if I would play the Pilaf here. Yes, you're in a hurry, right? You have no life whatsoever, but with all of that done, here's what I would have done. You had the White Snake in hand. There is reason to believe that your opponent throws everything that they have on one character, right? This Eustace Captain Kid, and swings as high as they can at your leader. In a scenario like that, one of the things that you can do is you can use White Snake to start out your turn, right? You would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Dawn, so you would have 5 Dawn left after that White Snake. You can use some of these other big defense cards like the one thing right here, the Snake Dance, right, to be able to pick up a Kaya. You could also use Spada, right, to draw. You can even use both Snake Dances to pick up both Kayas right here and be able to get out of the giant swing on the Eustace Captain Kid, and then the turn would pass because you wouldn't have any more Dawn to swing with any of these other characters. So definitely a curious thing to do playing that Pilaf. I definitely would have held on that, and definitely getting punished for playing the Pilaf, I would say, because they drew Perfume Fumer and Apis. So unfortunately, that's just how it's going to go, and now you definitely don't have enough Dawn for the defense, but is just going to have to pass the turn. I think they're laughing at each other like, oh my gosh, this game has been abysmal. You know, just some friendly gameplay, because especially in Japanese culture, if you watch across many card games like Pokemon, you know, One Piece, I see this all the time. Players don't like scoop like Americans do, like we do in the West. Like when you know you're going to lose right here, they instead just play it out until the very, very end when they lose. Playing this Apis isn't going to necessarily net you a win, but they're going to try to get as far as they can, and this Kaya is going to get them at least one card closer as they get to 16. And it looks, I think they're going to play the Kaya as well. Are they going to play the Kaya? And it looks like they're just going to pass it off. So again, I would have held on the peel off. I would have probably just waited until the next turn to use the peel off, just try to draw a little bit every single turn. But overall, this was just a really tough position in general, because at 9 Dawn, I think right now, just swinging 6, so maybe this opponent didn't necessarily want to use the attach all the Dawn to the one character, the highest power character, and then go ahead and swing. But as they reorder right here, do the minimal poke kind of thing. And this is kind of how I would approach Nami. Honestly, just swing. I would swing mainly with the small characters first in a turn like this, so then you can try to bait out certain things, and then if you have to, try then into going into some bigger swings. But no Dawn left, just going to be rest of the Dawn, swing with a character or leader. It's going to be Law, and that is going to be the game right there. I think that's 11 or 12. I think that is 7. So it's going to be a 12,000 power swing, and Law is unfortunately going to beat Nami in the top 4. Just a tough matchup overall, like I said. Not one that is easy in general, but it is going to be a game that is pretty good for review and pretty interesting, especially when we talk about the list. The list is interesting. Now, we don't have an exact list to what the Nami was playing, but based on what we saw, I think that this is a pretty good assumption of what they were doing in here. Kind of just a lot of 2s in this deck. I think pretty much all of the Zephs, Belmares, Perfume Femur, Brick Fist, like all of these different more interesting tech cards that we've seen in here are slotted at 2-ofs. Not really going with an Impel Down engine, right, with the Brick Fist, Deathwink, Buggy combos. Not necessarily going all in on Kuja Pirate stuff either, playing things like the Gloriosa or maybe the 2K Kuja Pirate, but instead going with more of like an East Blue package in a sense, because of the Apis, the Belmare, and then also the Zeph. I do really like the idea of Belmare. I would maybe think of playing a Belmare like right now in OP07. I think it's an interesting card, because especially if your locals don't have a ton of red purple law around it, this is definitely a card that can help you win a lot of games against like Gecko, can help you win against Lucci, Bonnie, Anel. This is a really interesting card that I think should be delved into further before we get into OP08, but just definitely a really unique list overall. And I know I keep saying overall, but this is definitely an overall kind of deck, if you know what I mean. Red Purple Law, I'm not going to explain too much of it. You've seen it before. You see it again right through these OP08 tournaments, and we know at least one of them is advancing into the top 4 tournament right here. Definitely just honestly, this is the most like not changing list or archetype that I feel like I've seen. There's not too much like ingenuity in terms of this. We saw a little bit the other week with the Porsche and the Khalifa, but that's pretty much it when it comes to these lists. Sometimes the Tony Chopper blocker, mostly a lot of the playing around with this list and the changes inside the meta as we continue in OP08 are really just the counts of what you want, right? Do you want to play 4 Otama for another kind of minus 2k instead of 3s, and then also have just another 2k, right, to run 16 whole 2ks? Or do you want to cut down on your Zoros and instead run 4 blocker laws, or maybe 4 Otamas, 3 Trafalgar laws in a sense of something like that? Or maybe I've even seen people cut the Eustace Captain Kids or some of the Sanji to be able to fit a couple of these different ratios that you see alongside in this list. So curious to see where it goes in general, but for now, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And at 10,000 videos, 10,000 videos. Wow, that would be a long time. Hopefully I'm making videos that long. 10,000 subs, I'll read all of One Piece. I've been watching One Piece and I enjoy One Piece. Obviously, I've been playing the card game and I make videos about it. But for those of you who don't know, I'm getting over a sickness. Hopefully the cuts a couple times for like coughing and stuff and sniffling weren't too weird. But usually what I do after I get sick is I kind of like create some sort of like goal for myself, because I get super unmotivated when I'm sick, you know, like laying in bed, just like not doing anything, like just being miserable. So once I start feel better, I try to give myself a little bit of motivation, and this just happened to be the motivation. I own every single volume of One Piece. I've never read it. I'm slowly working my way in the anime. I'm in Water 7 right now. Hope you enjoy. I also want to make like video essays soon, because I think people in One Piece are all just like deck profiles and market watch videos, and nobody makes video essays. You know, like when you watch a 40-minute video about ghost kitchens and you've never heard anything about a ghost kitchen before, and now you know all about ghost kitchens because of this video. I did watch that video the other day. Like, I want to make video essays maybe in the future about One Piece, and I've got an idea of what ones I want to start out with, and something that I can do for a really long time. But I need to like get to writing a script and stuff, because most of everything that I do in videos is like not scripted at all. It is totally like spewing whatever comes into my mind and just like free form content, like free talking. So I gotta work up a script and try to see what I've got and see if there's something that I like in the idea that I have. But if you want to see different video essay content about the One Piece trading card game, maybe you've got some ideas of your own, feel free to let me know. And again, the official tournament is down in the description below. I'm gonna try to get you the other matches soon. It's hard to record like more than one video a day just with my voice and stuff like that. So thank you again, and I'll stop yapping.